Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So today we are going to be talking about the Star Wars Acolyte star finally coming out and saying her piece after the Acolyte was canceled. And you'll never guess what she has to say. Star Wars was canceled because, you guessed it, you're racist. Also, we'll be talking about misunderstood orcs in the new Lord of the Rings of Power series on Amazon. Yes, the orcs, they're not just monsters that eat the flesh of human beings. There's a little bit more depth to them. They're just misunderstood. They've been misunderstood this whole time. And we'll be covering a couple other topics that I think are going to be fun. But I think those are going to be the two main ones I stay on. We'll give you an update on what's going on with Mr.Beast. And also discuss if makeup should be banned. Because the catfishing sometimes is unreal. And there's got to be a point where we ask ourselves, is this okay? Should women continue to do this? Is this really good and healthy? All right. So, yeah, if you like this content, please like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. That helps me grow, and I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Also, I go live every Tuesday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can find me on all social media platforms, pretty much. I'm in all of it. And I primarily use Rumble because they are the only company that I truly believe are champions for free speech. So you can just search RCAM in the Rumble search bar and find my channel, subscribe, and get notifications every time I go live. All right, let's get into this. So I've been pretty committed to covering the Star Wars, the Acolyte, ever since we first started getting glimpses of the crap storm that it was. And it inevitably got canceled because who would have thought that lesbian space witches wouldn't be a smashing success? I'm floored, to be honest with you. Never saw it coming. But apart from that, one of the early criticisms, one of the initial things that I noticed when I first watched the trailers was, the lack of white people. Yeah, there was a very clear message that no whites are to be permitted, at least in a positive way, in this series. So that was a source of contention right from the onset, And let me say something. I don't have a problem with diversity. I don't care about diversity if something just happens to be diverse. I care about diversity when it's forced, and I do believe it was very clearly an agenda item of Star Wars: The Acolyte. So that was very apparent. So since it's been canceled, we now finally have heard from Amandla Stenberg, I believe I'm saying that right, about the cancellation. So she's released a video statement talking a little bit about why she was canceled. I guess this is posted by Steph Annie. Blaming your show's failure on hate from the alt-right is crazy, which is exactly what she does, and you'll see. The Acolyte sucked, was not marketed well, and suffered for it. Pair that with your video attacking fans and Leslie Headland's awful writing, and you have yourself a failure. Hollywood will blame fans before they take accountability. So F them. Yeah, that was a very good summary of why the Acolyte failed. But Amandla Stenberg doesn't believe so. She believes it's because you're racist. So let's hear this.
Hello. I thought I would get on here and just speak candidly. I hate doing this, but I'm gonna do it. I don't use social media very much anymore. And I'm so happy about that. But there are many folks out there that I want to acknowledge and I want to show appreciation and love and support for. So that's why I'm hopping to talk about this, which is that our Star Wars show, has been canceled. And I'm gonna be transparent and say that it's not a huge shock for me. Of course, I live in the bubble of my own reality, but for those who aren't aware, there has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced, when it was still just a concept and no one had even seen it. And that's when we started experiencing a rampage of, I would say, hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language towards us.
So everything. Everything. Star Wars The Acolyte failed not because it sucked, but because you're hateful, racist bigots. That's why it failed. America couldn't handle a strong black woman in Star Wars. Except that actually doesn't really have anything to do with it. Again, the writing, bad. the lead actress attacking fans, bad. Leslie Headland explicitly stating that this would be one of the gayest Star Wars series of all time. Like maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe there's a thought. So more on this. In a deeply personal and heartfelt series of stories shared on Instagram, the Acolyte star Amandla Stenberg opened up about the intense backlash and negativity she faced both before and after its release, ultimately leading to its ultimate untimely cancellation. Speaking candidly, Stenberg addressed what they described as a rampage of vitriol that they and the show encountered from certain sectors of the online community. And this is just kind of recapping what she said, but this line, hyper-conservative bigotry and betrayal, prejudice and hateful language. Well, I will say this, Star Wars fans did hate it. They did hate it. There's no question about that, but because the show sucked, all right? The rewriting of Lucas's creation is what people had an issue with. The rewriting of a Force-conceived child, also people had a problem with. The fact that it was done by a coven of lesbian space witches, maybe that's why people had a problem with it. Maybe it's not because they hate black people. Maybe it's because the writing sucked and the show sucked and it couldn't hold people's attention. And they had a massive budget for this thing and it ultimately flopped. So yeah, that's why the show failed, but no. These people can't take just a single moment of introspection. So, maybe the script was bad. Maybe the plot was bad and predictable, by the way. Because turns out the Jedi were the bad guys the whole time. That was the case. And the witches were just misunderstood. Which we'll follow up on this whole ridiculous arc that the bad guys are really just misunderstood that we're doing now. Like, no one can just be evil. All evil people are just misunderstood. Yeah, they're just Yes, they're witches, and witches are evil, but they're just misunderstood. You don't understand. They have a reason for being the way that they are. And then they use this to kind of justify evil. So, obviously the Star Wars fans, or the fans of the Acolyte, because I would say most Star Wars fans are not a fan of the Acolyte. They have 50,000 signatures to get this show renewed. And I'll be honest, I hope they do. I hope they get it renewed, just so that we can get it canceled again. That would be delicious. So, we will see. Another thing kind of related to this, because a lot of people brought this up in relation to the Acolyte. So Robert Downey Jr. is going to be paid $100 million, 100 million clams for playing Doctor Doom in the Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. He says Kevin Feige approached him about the role around a year ago. I looked in the character and went, wow. Now, I am not a fan of Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doctor Doom. It just seems lazy to me, and seems like the only reason that they're doing this is because they want to capitalize on Robert Downey Jr.'s name and find a way of bringing him back into the franchise after he was killed off as Iron Man. So it just seems like a shameless cash grab to me, that they're going to use his character to capitalize on his name to promote this film. So I think it's lazy. I think there are probably better choices for Doctor Doom. I'm just being real. Now, this isn't to say that I think Robert Downey Jr. will be bad as Doctor Doom. I don't. I think he's Robert Downey Jr., all right? He's the GOAT. He could play Doctor Doom, and he's probably going to do a fantastic job. And after we see him as Doom, we're going to be like, I mean, he nailed it. I mean, he is Doctor Doom. So I think he'll do just fine as Doctor Doom. I'm being honest. He'll be great. So I'm not worried about that. Now, as for his payment, this meager $100 million, I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with him getting paid $100 million. Because I understand what star power brings to the table. I understand that investing that much in having him as Doctor Doom will help bring in definitely twice that. So I'm not worried about that that payment. And that was that 50 million per film. I mean, a lot of money, but it's small clams to Disney. I mean, they just pissed away essentially that much money on Star Wars: The Acolyte, which bombed and nobody watched. At least people will watch this. Like, I would rather pay Robert Downey Jr. $1 million than see them sink another $200 million into The Acolyte just for it to fail. I would rather do that. It's actually a good investment in money. Whereas The Acolyte not getting views and sucking and careening off a cliff, that's not a good investment. That's not a good way to spend your money. And fans of The Acolyte are upset over this, but it is what it is. Amandla Stenberg does not have the same star power as Robert Downey Jr. She just doesn't. Nobody knew who she was, too, until she was cast in... I had no idea who this person was until she was cast in Star Wars. So everybody knows who Robert Downey Jr. is. And he's a phenomenal actor. So I think this is a good idea. Even though I don't like that he was cast as Doom, I am excited to see what he does with the character. I have not actually been excited for a Marvel movie since Endgame. No, actually, no, that's not true. It was Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man movie. I really loved it. But that's it. And honestly, the last Spider-Man movie, what really brought me into that was bringing back Peter Parker and Andrew Garfield. I mean, it was just cool. So I enjoyed that, and that was the last Marvel movie I enjoyed. This, I'm actually looking forward to this. This should be good. Hopefully, if Disney doesn't mess it up, which, let's be real, that I do not underestimate Disney's ability to screw things up. So we will see. All right, so next story, man. So I have watched The Rings of Power. I watched the first season, and it was meh. I'm not even going to say it was terrible. It's just meh. It wasn't one of those things where I looked forward to watching, but it was one of those shows where I was okay watching it to pass time. but nothing about it grabbed me. And there's really no memorable moments I can't even really think of a memorable scene in the first season. Something that just stands out at me is like, whoa, that was wild. But with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I mean, there's lots of scenes that stand out in my mind, and there's characters in that series that you had you grew attached to. You liked the characters. I can't think of any characters in this new Lord of the Rings that I actually I care or I'm invested in what happens with them. Like any one of them could die, and I'd be like, all right, whatever. But with the characters in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, I mean, if a character died, you would feel it, all right? This is not the case. I mean, when you think Gandalf dies, I mean, that felt real. You connected, you resonated with that. But if like Galadriel died in Rings of Power, we know she won't, but if she did, you'd be like, whatever. Okay, no big deal. Anyway, let's play the trailer for this, and then we got a lot to unpack with this. All right, let's do this. I just know it's gonna get blocked on YouTube. Very disappointing. Because this is commentary. It should not be blocked, all right? This is commentary. This is the very definition of fair use. I should be able to play this, make my comments. You're not getting anything super insightful, but it's gonna get blocked. All right, let's just play it.
War has come to Middle-earth.
This is the work of Sauron.
Our armies cannot defeat him. Once the deceiver obtains a being's trust, he gains the ability to sculpt their very thoughts. You are wise to fear these rings. In Sauron's hands, they could work an evil beyond reckoning.
Region must not fall. It would be a mortal blow for all Middle-earth.
Sooner or later, Sauron's eye bores a hole. The rest of him slithers in. You sought peace. I gave it to you. This is hardly a gift. What have you done to me?
What have you done to me?
Who are you? Truly, I am the one keeping the storm at bay. Sauron is my enemy as much as yours. I can help you destroy him.
I will not stop until this is put right.
Every soul in the seen or unseen world will know that it was you who was the architect of their demise. At this moment, the great tale of our age is being written.
You think it was only you who put yourself in my power? Galadriel.
All right. So the trailer actually makes it look pretty good. Oh, we got hello from Portugal. What's up, Ruizada? What's going on, man? So the trailer looks good. I've watched the first, like 75% of the first episode. Kind of dragging a little bit, not gonna lie. It's not that entertaining. And so far, it has not been well received. So this is an article from Variety. It says, The Rings of Power makes Lord of the Rings a boring slog in a lifeless season 2. They go hard. Sitting down to write this review of The Rings of Power Season 2, I could not think of a few memorable moments. A swarm of butterflies coalesce into a humanoid figure. A choir of singers communes with the earth in a gorgeous harmony. A horde of spiders closes in on a helpless prisoner. Their lair so fetid you can practically smell it. What I cannot think of are any characters I particularly... That's what I was just saying. Or any emotions I felt as they traversed Middle-earth. That's par for the course with this Amazon drama, the $1 billion+ much Bollywood prequel, The Lord of the Rings, 2 years ago. The first season was initially met with polite praise by critics who rightly lauded the show's visual world building and noting that the actual story was not yet its equal with audiences. However, The Rings of Power landed with a thud that would echo throughout the Dwarf settlement, Khazad-dûm, according to Hollywood Reporter. Just 37% of domestic viewers who began the 8-episode series watched it through completion. That's bad. That's bad, man. They were only able to retain 37% of their audience, and they are using one of the biggest IPs in the world. I mean, Tolkien's work has been something that has been adored and admired by, I mean, people all over the world. It's been universally beloved. My dad loved Lord of the Rings so much he named our cat after Gandalf. You know, so this is, you know, this is the significant cultural impact Lord of the Rings had, and this I do not suspect is going to get is going to garner the same type of support the original trilogy did, not by a long shot. And how could they with dialogue like this? All right, we're just gonna play this.
Those rings are more than our lost hope. They may be the lost hope for all Middle-earth. It is a risk we must chance to take.
A risk we must chance to take. It's like they're trying to... It just feels like they're trying too hard. It's a risk we must chance to take.
Give them to me.
High King, Sauron has not yet amassed that degree of power. These rings may be how he attains it. They must be destroyed.
That decision is far above your privilege, one you endanger with each moment you refuse to obey. The ring...
It's too choppy, but... Anyway, that's a little snippet from the from the first episode, but man, somebody else pointed out the dialogue, so the Critical Drinker has done some tweets showcasing some of the dialogue. He played me like a harp, but the melody was not one of my choosing. One does not need the eyes of an eagle to see that your thoughts have strayed far from this place. Like an ember that has been too long removed from a fire, our people must return to their home. Riveting. Riveting. I feel the spirit of Tolkien in these words. Not. But among that, here's another development that that I did catch a glimpse of in the, I believe, the first episode, if I'm remembering the scene correctly. All right. Orcs are now depicted as loving husbands, protective fathers who don't want to go to war. What even is this show? So this is an actual clip from the show about orcs, which by the way, you know, are like the embodiment of evil. There's nothing human about them. At least in Tolkien's original work, they were just depicted as pure evil. All right, here's a clip.
We are safe here. We have a home. Must we go to war again?
Trust me, my son, when I tell you that we will never truly be safe until we've made certain Sauron is no more.
As you will it, Lord Father.
What is this? Look look at this. Look at this orc wife. They want a safe space from Sauron. Orcs. Flesh-eating monsters. And now we have to humanize them. We have to they're trying to make it so that we have some sort of sympathy toward orcs. You know, it's not that they, you know, it's not, yes, they eat the flesh of human beings, but they're really just misunderstood. What I see here when I see this scene is an orc father working hard to try to provide a better life for his orc wife and orc baby so that they can grow up in a world where they are safe and free to eat the flesh of other living human beings. Is that too much to ask? I cannot believe it. This is like an actual shot of the orc. This baby needs a future in which it can eat human flesh. I can't, man. Oh my gosh. They want a safe space. And they're, I don't understand why they do this. Can't orcs just, I don't know, just be evil monsters? Why do we need to show orc babies? Why do we need to show orc moms? Well, you know, like, I'm pretty sure, you know, this isn't lore. You know, last I checked, like, orcs were, like, created. And the show has kind of diverged from that. Or maybe it's just the Orcai were created, you know. Somebody that has a better understanding of Tolkien lore can answer that for me. But it's just... it's just ridiculous. Oh man, we do not need to humanize orcs. I'm sorry. You know, we don't need to be sympathetic toward them. They should be the banality of evil. And this is something, you know, that I was commenting on before, that modern shows want audiences to sympathize with the evil characters. It's very strange. Why? Why can't we just make characters that are evil? They're not misunderstood. They're just evil. They're just evil. And I think this is like a human way of trying to cope with the existence of evil. Like, we can't accept that there are just people that are evil. There's no misunderstanding it. They are just evil. And they do evil things because they love it. They love doing evil things. And I think it's good that because this blurs the lines, you know, like, it makes us uncertain of who the enemy actually is, at least in this series, you know. But no, they should be very clearly depicted as the enemy. There should be no sympathy for orcs who eat people. We need these orcs back, man.
I'm starving. We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days.
Why can't we have some meat? What about them? They're fresh.
They are not for eating.
Oh, whoops, my bad.
What about their legs? They don't eat those. Ooh, they look tasty.
Get back, scum!
Carve him up! Just a mouthful!
The flight meat's back on the menu, boys! I'm stuck.
Now those are orcs. That's how I remember them. They don't need a safe space. They're not concerned about making a better life for themselves. They're concerned with, you know, eating food and eating the flesh of other human beings, and that's it. No orc babies, no orc women, just monsters. very clear villains that you want to see defeated, and so ruthless that they'll easily eat their own. That's good for the show, but not this new rendition of orcs that need a safe space. It's unbelievable. If I didn't watch it, I wouldn't have believed it. It's that crazy to me. All right, just an update, just because I want to stay on this story. So there's been some new developments with the Mr.Beast story. So this guy has been kind of reporting on what's going on with Mr.Beast, and he gave a latest update about how Mr.Beast and his team accused of filing alleged sexual assaulter LaKoya Hill, only to bring him back in 2023 despite knowing his history. So let's hear the allegations. We're not going to play the whole thing, but we'll listen to a little bit of it.
Share this with like an independent third party if it needs to happen. Personally, I don't think Mr.Beast is going to deny sort of this LaKoya Hill story that I'm going to show you. But here's the first testimony, and I'll say this person is especially credible in my opinion. I asked them, did you see or hear of any sexual misconduct at the company? They say yes. LaKoya Hill, the current COO. In 2021, he had an assistant named victim's name. I heard LaKoya acted very inappropriately with victim, booking hotel rooms with only one bed, walking around in his underwear, having victim come to his house and showing him his sex toy collection. Just in general, LaKoya made victim uncomfortable. Victim started complaining to higher-ups and a report got written. LaKoya was put on paid leave for like a month. Then Mr.Beast moved him to the dubbing company, and he was hired back in 2023 and was promoted to COO, even though Jimmy, James, and Sue 100% know his history. Also, I heard that when victim was let go, he was given $30,000 in severance.
That's pretty damning. If they knew, and he has testimony after testimony after testimony of people basically saying or corroborating this story, which makes things look so much worse for Mr.Beast. But the thing is that I think this isn't really going to impact him anymore. I think if it would have done serious damage, that damage would have been done. I do think he's going to lose viewers, but not anything so significant that's going to cost him his channel or anything like that. So, but I guess, there continues to be drama coming out about people who have worked with Mr.Beast and the working conditions, and I suspect there's probably a little bit more, but we'll see. But I just want to keep you guys up to date on that story. Other story, I thought this is good news. So, Texas will reportedly no longer allow transgenders to request a change in their sex on documents like driver's license. I call this a win. They are recognizing reality and not allowing people to distort that reality. And I think every state should not allow transgenders to change their sex on their driver's license. No, you were born a biological male. I don't care how you identify. I don't care how you present yourself. That is what you are. That will not change, and we will not be complicit in changing any of that about you, including on your driver's license or a birth certificate or any other legal document. So it's just weird. It also, too, I could see this being abused, rapists or awful people, getting, transitioning and then identifying as a woman and kind of covering up their past identity of sex crimes. I just see that being abused. And we already see this, the way people identify being abused in prison systems, transgenders getting switched over to women's prisons and sexually abusing them there. So we just should not give any wiggle room to these delusional psychopaths. Because they will take a mile. You give them an inch, they're taking a mile. That's just what they'll do. All right. So this next story that I'm going to talk about, or a couple of videos I'm going to play for you, is I think this is the making of a segment, maybe, possibly, where I try to understand what cannot be understood. A mystery that has plagued and puzzled men for the dawn of humanity, and that is women. They are a mystery. And I've recently tried to understand women who fridgescape. And then I tried to understand women who load their Stanley Cup up with all these accessories. And my buddy pointed this out to me, that we just can't understand them. And he asked me, why do you keep trying to do this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'll be the one to crack the code, but, you know, we can at least laugh along the way. All right. So people are, this is from Drama Alert, people are saying makeup should be illegal after seeing this woman's makeover. Good Lord, I want to give Alpha Fox the credit. All right. One, before I play this video, just let me go on record and say I'm so glad I'm married. And I'm so glad my wife is not big on makeup. She just isn't. She looks beautiful with or without makeup. She doesn't need it. And if she does do makeup, it's like a little bit on her eyes and that's it. But this man, oh my God.
I like shy, a little anxious guys. Hands too nice to start a fight. I don't really worry if he's not in mine. He doesn't go out, stays in all night. Nah, he's not like the rest. We click like a Death Star Lego set. He's quick-witted with his tongue, but he takes his time just to make me cool. Me. Don't be scared now that I'm here. I won't hurt you, baby.
It's like my nightmare. You're in a relationship with somebody with makeup, then one day, like, you're intimate and their teeth fall out. It's like, that just sounds like a nightmare to me. This should be illegal in my opinion. Makeup is powerful, all right? I did, you know, these types of transformations are legitimately scary. Because, you know, if you're a man dating women in this modern world, if they have makeup, just automatically a red flag. Automatically be on guard. You want to see images of them without makeup. Another story, kind of unrelated, but something that just like blew my mind was this, somewhere in Asia, this guy got married to this woman and they had babies and his kids were coming out unattractive and he couldn't understand. His wife is beautiful. He didn't get it. He came to find out that his wife was actually really ugly. She got plastic surgery. And then he realized that he had been catfished into marriage, and I think he ended up suing her. But I think, yeah, I think that's actually valid. You lied to him. And women who wear makeup like this, you are lying. Not just to the men, but to yourself. That's not what you look like. That's not what you look like at all. It's so far from what you look like that it's not even funny. It's scary. God, imagine, you know, like you're with somebody like this, you only have seen them in makeup, and then you come home and they're not wearing makeup, and you're like, who is in my house? Like, this could lead to like domestic violence or something, because you think a stranger's entered into your home. Very scary. And I do not envy men who are dating in modern times. If this is some of the stuff that you guys have to put up with. God. Unbelievable. So yeah, red flags, lots of makeup, and heavily filtered. And also angles. Be careful of those angles, guys. They can get you. Alright. Here's another video of trying to understand women, alright? This video is a trip, man. So, one, I do think this whole video is just an ad to sell this soap that she's using.
Let's clean a random grave. Who do you think is buried here?
Let's clean it and find out.
I have so many questions. How old is this grave?
It looks like it's been here for 500 years.
How did this grave get so dirty? Look, there's a tree growing out of it.
I love plants.
This transformation is extremely hard for me, but I believe everyone deserves a beautiful grave.
Okay, so I did some research.
A woman is buried here, and she has 2 brothers, just like me. I need to make her family proud. This is so satisfying. I wish I could live in the graveyard. Are you ready to find out who's buried here? Maria Lugo Texador. She died on the 19th of January, 1990.
I get to do this work because you support and follow.
I don't, but... So, yeah, I'm just gonna come out and say this. Why didn't she use a power washer? It just seems to me like that would have saved her a lot of time. Instead of scrubbing and pouring water and even ripping the plants out, you just get a power washer, you hook that bad boy up, and you spray away. It'll blast all the grit and dirt and all of that out with minimal effort. I don't understand. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, I guess this works for her. You know, gets her views and allows her to fulfill her dream of cleaning graves. I just think, like, yeah, this is where men just shine because we're more efficient. We think of efficient ways to do things, and that's too much work. You know, I'm just gonna power wash this bad boy clean, and we'll be done. You don't have to scrub. You don't have to pour water. You don't have to rip plants out. You don't have to do none of that. Just get a power washer and you know, maybe you'll have to leaf blow a little bit. That's fine, whatever. But the power washer would have got the job done. So, kind of silly, but I will not shame her game. You know, I'm not gonna shame her hustle. She did what she had to do to make money, and evidently she's quite successful in doing it. But yeah, I feel disappointed though that she didn't use the power washer. And it would have been equally as satisfying, by the way. You know, so this is the genre of content that, you know, people just find satisfying. You know, and I'll be lying if I said I didn't get sucked into, you know, videos of you know, things being power washed or cleaned and seeing the before and after. I don't know. It's one of those things that it's just like a kamikaze. You just can't look away. But I do think it would have been more effective. All right, I think that's going to do it for me tonight, guys. If you like this content, like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. Follow me across all social media platforms. I'm most active on X at rcam_TV. And you can follow me at Rumble at rcam. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you guys have a blessed night. Deuces.